that got postponed by several months due to the imposed lockdown and had all the plans of being showcased in theatres was the Bipin Nadkarni directed film Darbaan. The film, which has now been acquired by ZEE5, stars Sharib Hashmi, Sharad Kelkar, Rasika Dugal and Flora Saini in prominent roles and is based on the short story Return of the Little Master written by Rabindranath Tagore in 1891. The story focuses on the relationship between a caretaker and a child beyond societal and economic biases and constraints. When due to financial setbacks, the child grows up to become a professionally successful individual, he approaches his trusted caretaker to take care of his toddler. Fate works its devilish ways and one fine day during a stroll, the caretaker loses sight of the child and is completely broken from within. The story beyond this irreparable loss that breaks a family, tearing Raicharan, played by Sharib Hashmi, from within, who is let go, forms the crux of the story. Here's me telling you the good and bad aspects of the film so that you guys can ultimately decide whether to watch this on ZEE5 or not. The underwhelming aspects. Technical details. Whenever such a movie releases and it attempts to execute scenic and expansive shots, I many times get worried on the restricted budget and the eventual execution. When you will see Darbaan, which attempts to transport you to Dhanbad, there are large expansive shots of the environment in which the characters reside. This often showcases digitally rendered images or green screens that look rather jarring and artificial. While the soul and the crux of the film are the characters and the relationships they form, this is a technical detail that I should just point out, as it is a similar feature individuals experienced in humble films on the ZEE5 platform like Pariksha and Meer Aksam. Contentious conclusion. For anyone who has read the short story Return of the Little Master or has seen the 11th episode of the Netflix acquired stories of Rabindranath Tagore titled Wafadar, you know how this movie will progress and what is the underlying message Tagore had originally intended. First of all, if you haven't seen it already, Stories of Rabindranath Tagore on Netflix, directed by Sachin Deo under the general directorship of Anurag Basu, is one of the most captivated pieces of work you will see. I would highly recommend it to anyone for a learning experience and just to familiarize anyone with the beautiful written text of Tagore. Irrespective, whoever is familiar with the story knows how it concludes. Darbaan takes a very lukewarm approach to its conclusion, quite contrary to the heartbreaking and almost unbearable conclusion in the short story. So readers of the original text may feel that what could have been an absolute tearjerker of a conclusion actually was left without really pulling at your heartstrings. If you've seen the 41-minute episode on Netflix, you know exactly what I'm talking about. The good. The music. You know, we live in a landscape of pop culture and consistent production of music, so much so that we crib about remake songs and these overly produced and dated concepts of longing and intense love. But we still gravitate towards solely these products. Somehow I believe the Twitter bubble of raging for the lack of innovation in Hindi music stays restricted to that bubble, as no one really cares about original music at the ground level. You can see the consistent effort made by films like Tesh just a few weeks ago and the humble numbers that it did on social media. All of it can't be blamed on the lack of promotions. It has a lot to do with it being easier to hate on underwhelming products rather than sharing gems that are produced. Similarly, Darbaan has some beautiful music composed by Amartya Rahut and Rajiv Bhalla. The two songs that will especially stay with you are Khush Mizaj, sung by Arijit Singh, and Rang Bhariya by Gulraj and Amrita Singh. Let's take the responsibility of making a consistent effort by at least acknowledging good work when it's produced. The cast. The movie features some of my favorite artists that possess such abundant talent. Even though Sharad Kelkar and Flora Saini have little to do in this film, they put forth exceptional performances. More than their individual work, they have an extremely organic chemistry with one another. Sharad Kelkar's reunion with his caretaker, or the moment he stumbles upon Raicharan crying in the torrential rain, with his voice completely softened due to the monstrous thunder. Kelkar presents this restrained and understated performance required for Anukul. Similarly, Flora, as the mother, in anxiety of her lost son or being an emotional wreck and channelizing all her anger towards Raicharan, presents that natural maternal instinct in her performance. Rasika Dugal has a very brief appearance, but showcases what a talented artist she is in those key moments. Her breaking down looking at her husband living in self-pity and remorse will stay with you. It is of course Sharib Hashmi's beautiful performance that is the soul of Darbaan. His loyalty towards the family, his abundant love for his wife, his repentance on the lapse of his judgment. Hashmi is sincere, lovable and genuine in every frame. A talent we have been seeing for years and deserves the respect for his consistent impressive work. narration and dialogues. What I guarantee you that you will definitely fall in love with regarding this film is the narration by Anu Kapoor. He presents this bittersweet feeling in every moment where he presents a commentary on what the characters are going through. The writers Bipin, Radhika Anand and Rakesh Jadhav have done a splendid job in accurately depicting the characters' thought processes in context to the world and its ways beyond human control. Anu Kapoor describing Raicharan, who seems purposeless now and is back in his village, says, "ना फसल की उम्मीद थी ना पैसों की जरूरत, चिता जली तो यूं ही होता है, कभी खुद पे खुदा भी रोता है." Knowing very well that luck is not favoring Raicharan in any way, finding roadblocks as he lives his life selflessly, the narration states, "कोई ऊपर बैठ के किस्मत लिखता है और यहाँ हम उम्मीद बुनते रहते हैं." Trust me, it's poetic and beautiful in many ways. I was reading a beautiful article written by filmsufi.com and it brilliantly showcased that this story presents 3 social themes as its message. 1 of duty, 2 of class, and 3 of nature versus nurture. While I can't enumerate further on how beautifully it expands on these topics as they will contain spoilers, you will know what a successful job the creators have done on focusing on these topics, facets that humans deal with on a daily basis. If you can see beyond the minutiae of the technical details and maybe the contentious conclusion of Darbaan, this film presents a human story that is universal in many ways. While we voice our frustration at the lack of innovation in the Hindi film industry or the celebration of mediocrity, it's important for us to acknowledge when good work is done, and trust me, this is one of those projects. And that was the video, guys. Write down in the comments below what you thought about the movie. Please don't forget to follow me on Instagram. The handle's right in front of you. Follow me at JammyPants4. Also, please support us by smashing the like button and subscribing to our channel for weekly content ahead. Thank you for watching.